Happy Monday, everyone. Happy Monday. We are in, today is March the 3rd, March the 3rd, 2025, and we have a lot to discuss this morning. A lot to discuss. Okay, so I thank you guys for joining me. We have a lot to discuss. So, welcome to Mrs. Moneybags Live. I'm Nicole Williams, and this is your go to podcast for everything mortgages, whether you're buying your first home, you're refinancing, or you're investing in real estate. We break down the mortgage process, share expert tips, and help you make smarter financial decisions. Subscribe, and let's dive right in. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm so excited to be here with you this morning. In this series, we will read an article and we will review to discuss how we can avoid many of the pitfalls that are warned to us within the article so we can determine how to create action plans so that we can be successful. So we are going to read this article together, read to understand the pitfalls and the warning signs that are available so that we can be successful in avoiding these pitfalls in our own lives and in our own scenarios because we were designed to prosper. We were designed to be a success, and we were designed with God's ultimate plan over our lives. So let's read this article to determine how we can be successful in any economy in which we are in and how that also affects the real estate market. Okay, let's get right into it. So the article we're reading today is titled, "Is one of Canada's biggest housing markets at risk from a debt-burdened consumer?" Okay, so we know we have been hearing a lot about what's happening with the economy, Canadians taking on a lot more debt than they perhaps were in the past, what inflation has done, what possible tariffs from the US will do. So let's just dive right into the article. I will be reading this verbatim. And then over the next couple of days, we will discuss each point in detail, and I will give you an action plan on how you can be successful to ensure that you will avoid these pitfalls. Canadian households are continuing to ride a wave of challenging economic conditions, and for some, that may put their most valuable asset at risk. With the seemingly never ending wave of headwinds and uncertainties, relying on credit has been the only option for many people, taking the aggregate level of Canadian consumer debt to more than 2.5 trillion at the end of 2024. Fueled by non-bank auto loans, average non-mortgage debt per consumer reached $21,931 in the fourth quarter. But some households are at a breaking point, and the latest Equifax Canada report on consumer credit trends reveals that in the fourth quarter of 2024, a divide was opening up between those who have benefited from the lower interest rates and those whose debts are overwhelming them. In Ontario, for example, there has been a rise in mortgage borrowers missing payments, 11,000 of them, which is almost 3 times the level seen in 2022. And delinquencies among the province's mortgage borrowers was more than 50% higher than pre-pandemic levels. Adding to this is that average mortgage balances for Ontario homeowners are substantially higher. The GTA's substantial housing market is facing additional challenges as the construction industry blames cost for constraining supply. And non-mortgage debt is also causing issues for many Ontarians, with the 90-plus day non-mortgage balance delinquency rate surging 46.1% year over year. In addition, Ontario's overall rise in non-mortgage delinquency rate was 23.9% above the national average of 18%. The challenges are not exclusive to Ontario, although other provinces saw smaller increases in non-mortgage delinquency rates, 90-plus days. BC at 21.6%, Quebec at 23.3%, Alberta at 6.1%, the Prairies at 4.1%, and the Atlantic provinces at 1.5%. Mortgage holders will typically do everything they can to keep up with payments, said Rebecca, the Vice President of Advanced Analyst at Equifax Canada. The fact that we're seeing missed payments rise so sharply suggests deeper financial strain. Dependent on the type of credit, missed payments have increased from 10 to 80% compared to pre-pandemic levels. Renewal pressure. The pressure on mortgage holders is exacerbated by the higher cost of renewals facing many. Around 1 million mortgages due for renewal this year will be at higher rates than they were locked in 2020. In quarter four of 2024, around a quarter of borrowers found their monthly payment increased by at least $150 on renewal. While some consumers are doing better and seeing financial improvements from lower interest rates, financial pressures have intensified for some Canadians as well as mortgage holders in certain regions, in particular in Ontario and British Columbia, added Oakes. At first glance, the numbers are not concerning. But when we look deeper at a more granular level, many are feeling the strain of high living cost and mortgage renewals with higher payments, while other consumers are doing better and seeing financial improvements from lower interest rates and income growth. Credit card debt remains high and climbed 7.8% in quarter four of 2024. Although this pace was the lowest in 2 years, this type of debt has been cited as a major factor in consumer insolvencies in 2024. Average credit card purchases adjusted for inflation reached $2,228 per card holder amid seasonal spending trends, a 2.2% increase from 2023. Younger and lower income Canadians are experiencing missed payments on credit card, auto loans, and lines of credits, signaling financial strain among these groups. Despite recent rate cuts and GST tax relief, challenges persist for certain consumers, particularly in consumer debt and housing. The added uncertainty of US tariffs underscores the need for a balanced approach to debt, affordability, and trade. The coming year will be critical for Canada's economic stability. Very interesting article. And this is what will be our topic and our point of focus over the next coming days as we review our series on how to be successful and to avoid many of the pitfalls that a lot of Ontario and in general Canadian consumers are facing as it pertains to debt. So be sure to subscribe, stay tuned, and stay involved as we give you tips on how to be successful and how to avoid these pitfalls. In closing, be sure to subscribe and like and share this episode with anyone that you know can benefit. Here's to your health and wealth, and with love from Mrs. Moneybags Live.